Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Gunners Town Pub. Hope you are well, wherever in the world you might be. Hope you enjoyed the last 90-odd minutes or so, which we're going to dissect. Your comments are welcome on the right-hand side. Let me welcome the cohorts and the alcohol, which is clearly flowing somewhere. We'll start then in the top left-hand corner. It is Paul the Passionate. How are you, Paul?
Hi, Olaf. Bits of me are fine, thanks. The whiskey is helping the rest.
I see you doing it on the rocks tonight, eh? No fishbowl tonight.
No, I've gone for a 17-year-old Balvenie, which I think is about... Yeah, this was during the Invincibles era. Do you remember them? They used to play good football and score goals and win games.
Those guys that used to play at Highbury, those ones. Okay.
Yeah, I remember them.
All right. Then we have on the top right-hand side, we have Mark the Magnificent. Good evening, Mark.
How you doing, Olaf? Not been called that in a while.
Yeah, thanks for
Ever.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't even got to Gav yet, who's bottom left. Good evening, Gav, the glorious. How are you doing?
I'm a bit relieved you didn't say Gav the Gormless, to be honest with you.
Mark and Gav, are you guys drinking this evening? It's the traditional start to the first question on the pub.
I'm not, mate, no, because if I started drinking, I probably wouldn't stop until the next bank holiday after the last two fucking games.
Okay, excellent. And I'm having a quiet Guinness, just out of interest, because I've got work tomorrow. So welcome. And we've got Paul, who's going to be doing all of the controlling and producing remotely. And this is the beauty of where we are today. Please do leave your comments on the right-hand side, and Paul will put them up as and when we go along. So, gentlemen, shall we start? Let's do the hot take. We'll start in reverse order. Gav, what was your hot take on the game as a whole?
We're basically shit.
Okay.
I'll drink to that.
And I've run out of decent Italian beer, so I'm back to Foster's and the backup case of Carlsberg that sits in the corner when I run out of everything else. No, it was just one of those. We had enough chances to win that game 3 or 4-1, but we're not taking our chances. And then you don't take your chances, you're going to get punished. And it's almost like the story of watching Arsenal for the last 20 years. And that's what it feels like. We're creating enough chances, we don't take our chances, we get punished. We all have a moan up. But simply, the first, I don't know, what can you say, 60, 70, 80 minutes, we weren't sharp enough, we weren't quick enough, we weren't decisive enough, we weren't taking our chances. It was a bit of a shit show, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A bit.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice and positive.
Well, yeah, early in the show, because we've still got quite a few things to talk about. But I think we'll get into the tactics in a second or so, Gav, and then maybe some insight would be great. Mark, your hot take?
Wrong lineup. Basically, I think I don't understand. He picks a team, and he obviously believes that's the best team that he wants to start with, and then they come out and they look like they're having a training session at Colney, and it's not a European competition quarter-final. You know, I don't. There are so many worrying things going on at the moment, and when you consider that this is our best chance of saving our season and getting into the Champions League, which it wouldn't be a lot of point being in it, to be fair. We'd get tonked when you look at some of the football played in it. But we need that money, and it's our best chance. But he just does not seem to be able to get that team firing. And you add that to him picking the wrong side. I really do not understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. The sense of urgency, as an example, was absolutely lacking from the get-go. And as Arteta said, he said this is the biggest game of the bloody season. And let me leave Paul to give his hot take for us.
My hot take was I haven't watched a team that seems so inept, an Arsenal team that just seems so incapable of converting chances, of making the right move at the right time, running, making the run when it's necessary, putting in the right cross. It's just ineptness kind of personified. And even when we got the goal, which was a huge relief because we should have been, a couple more up, the first thing I tweeted was like, okay, now all we've got to do is hang on to it, for 4 fucking minutes. And my hot take is that we can't even do that. And it's beyond me. It's just, it's beyond me. This team just, you don't know where goals are going to come from. And when they do, you're super fucking grateful, but you just know that there's going to be some arse twattery that's going to go on at the back, and we're just going to shoot ourselves in the foot and make our lives more difficult. That's my hot take.
I made a note during the game. Orbinho tweeted and said that we hadn't scored in 4 hours and 11 minutes. This was by the end of half time. 4 hours and 11 minutes playing at the Emirates Stadium. And even when we did score, it was almost virtually at the end of the game, with the 5 minutes left to go. Do you think that's a big problem as well, Gav?
Yeah, they're just not firing. It's as simple as that. Is it a lack of confidence? I mean, Lacazette's one-on-one was just completely lapsadaisical. It was almost like he didn't care whether he scored or not. And it's just ridiculous. And there was a couple of opportunities as well in the first half where the ball was fizzed across. And no one wants to get their head in there. No one wants to put their foot in there. And it just seems like we've got almost like a lack of passion at times. And the 3 lads that come on towards the end, we started looking like, there was a bit of enthusiasm, there was faster, etc. And we did get the goal. But they can be just as guilty as that, and they have been just as guilty of that all season as well. So what does Arteta do? I really don't know what he does, because Aubameyang looks brilliant for the last 10 minutes. But if he'd started the game, he probably would have been exactly the same as Lacazette. So I don't understand what Arteta's got to do here, really. He's almost got a blessing of gifts to choose from, and they're all letting him down. Sometimes in the same game, sometimes every other game. There's just no consistency of sharpness in our front players.
Mark, do you think there's any highlight in the game that you'd like to point out?
No.
Good luck.
I'm struggling. If you work your way through the team, there are various reasons why some players didn't, weren't in the game as much as others, possibly, but there were some nice touches from some Smith Rowe, but he wasn't in the game. I think the huge miss tonight was Ødegaard. I think we really, really missed him. He is so key in that position where he plays to keeping us moving, to keeping us ticking over. And you could see that Liverpool made sure. Did he play against Liverpool? I think they just swamped him. They knew swamp him, and Arsenal were going to be in trouble. And without him again tonight, we just really struggled. Saka had some good touches, and then his final pass would be poor. The chance he missed was poor. You cannot. There are so many things about that performance that are wrong that I can't come up with a highlight. I'd be clutching. You probably need to find some other podcast, like one who said there was something great about the Liverpool game. Yeah, but go and speak to them about a highlight, because there fucking wasn't a highlight tonight. That is so poor. I cannot. Oh, mate, I'm so pissed off, and this is me being calm.
And can you highlight one, Paul?
Yeah, I think. Look, I'm not a huge Pepe fan, but I thought he did well in his goal. I'm going to give him that. I think I think he showed pace and kind of composure, and it was a neat little chip, and we needed it, and it should have been a winning goal and put us in the pound seats for the return. But what happened after that wasn't his fault. So my highlight is Pepe actually producing the goods for a change.
By the way, the ball did come off his thigh, which then was deflected, and that's where their player came in and scored, by the way, at the end. Anyway, Gav, come on, give us a highlight. You've got to find one somewhere other than the Carlsberg.
Right, no, I'm still on the Fosters, unfortunately. A highlight. I like the fact that Gabriel, every now and then, just hoofs it. That's my only highlight. Look, I'm watching Gabriel, and he can play it nicely, he can play it short, and blah blah blah. But he's beginning to learn just to fucking hoof it. So I enjoy.
Except when we needed him to at the end.
Well, yeah, and I guess the other highlight is Pepe knows now where to be when we're taking a corner to do a cheeky flick on. That's another good highlight.
Yeah. Okay. And then I suppose the diametrically opposite part, and we'll start with you again, Gav. You're only allowed to mention one, not multiple. So a low light, if you'd be so kind, before we go to Paul and Mark.
Oh, Jesus. I'm trying to think who they're going to pick, so I pick them instead of that they do.
No pressure.
No, well, I mean, the obvious one is Willian is just a complete pile of shit. But again, I think the low light really is the fact that we should have started Saka down the left and Pepe down the right, and Willian should have just sat his arse on the bench all game. So that's my low light about the game. I think it would have been a lot better if we had a left footer, especially Saka, on the left-hand side and Pepe on the right. So I'm kind of blaming... I don't like to blame Arteta because he's really got a thankless task with some of the shit players we've got in our squad. But, yeah, that's where I am.
Paul?
I think the low light for me is the fact that we just... I don't know where the goals are coming from. I mean, we talk about getting rid of Aubameyang and Lacazette and everybody. If you get rid of those people, like, I think we'd be like a 10-goal a season kind of team. Because, as promising as people like Saka and Smith Rowe and even Martinelli, I mean, he's had that one great goal against Chelsea, but it's a bit of a one-hit wonder. I mean, we're kind of hanging on to that, to be honest. My low light is that I'm looking at an Arsenal team that just doesn't look like it's got goals in it, and that's hard to watch because you kind of wonder when they're going to come, and when they do, if we can defend them. That's my.
We have a history of scoring from midfield, but you can almost rattle off.
No.
What goal comes from midfield anymore? Mark, your low light?
Unfortunately, it's Mikel Arteta. Okay. Gav says. He doesn't blame him because he's got some shit players and that. Well, yeah, he has got some shit players, but he's the one who's decided that the hills, the 7 hills that he's going to die on in Rome, like one of them is Willian. Why would you pick Willian for that game tonight? Why would you pick Willian for that game tonight? Right?
No
there are other players. His substitutions are dire. They are too late, and he shouldn't need to be making them because those players should be on the pitch already starting, and he cannot seem to motivate this team to get them to start. I mean, I don't know, what he's going to say tonight, or if one of the players is, if some crap is going to be said about, we didn't put the game, we didn't respect the game plan or whatever. Well, there comes a point where you have to start thinking, this again is another manager that the majority of these players are not listening to. So I'm sorry to say my low light is Arteta and the things that are going wrong that he is responsible for.
That then brings us to, we always at this point also talk about the starting lineup and whatever. Mark, I think then you must going on from your highlight. Then it must have been immensely demotivated by the starting lineup that you saw.
Do you know what? I've made a habit now of I don't even bother looking at Twitter in like that hour before the game from when the team news comes out, because the usual meltdown that you get is just it just doesn't bode well for when you want to start and watch the game in a good place. So I just basically turn on about 5 minutes before and see. And I mean, you can see the team he's picked. You think, okay, well, you know, he must be learning. He must be not going to make the same mistakes. So there must be a reason why he's picked Willian. You know, he must be tearing it up in training on that left-hand side, and this is going to work. And then it doesn't, you know. So other than that, you sort of look around until you think Partey and Xhaka, yeah, that's who you want in the midfield. Up top, I would rather play Aubameyang at centre forward than Lacazette, and I would have probably switched Saka and onto the left hand, I kept Saka on the right hand side and played Pepe on the left, and then Smith Rowe in the 10 and that. Defence, we're kind of like, we've got so many centre backs and most of them are shit, and the decision not to get a left back up in January is just going to come back and haunt us, because we're faced with playing Cedric there or one of the other right-footed right backs we've got, or dropping Saka back there. So you know, the lineup, I don't know. I just don't understand.
Gav, a bit of your tactical nous with the lineup. Any comments?
Well, to be honest with you, I just don't understand Willian on the pitch, full stop. I would have probably, as weird as this sounds, probably started Saka on the bench, and gone with Pepe right, and even a Aubameyang down the left. Anybody but Willian. But the problem we had is the first half we were so dominant down our right hand side, and we had nothing down the left hand side. And every time Cedric got forwards, he had to cut back, and sometimes it went right the way back to the halfway line. So we needed someone who can whip the ball in with a left foot on the left side of the pitch, and it weren't Cedric and it weren't Willian. So I mean, even Martinelli starting in that position, and then as the game got desperate, then you bring Saka on. Then you could perhaps bring Saka on as almost a left wing back, and have Xhaka sort of drop back and cover that position. So it didn't really give him options to make what could have been a 60th minute killer substitution, which slightly changes the format of the game. But again, like I say, you can only go down to the fact that the players that he brought on with the last 10 minutes done him justice, but they were the players the game before who stunk the place out. So it's almost like the players are taking it in turns to have an absolute stinker. And that's the worrying thing, really, because he shows the players that came on were motivated and did get us the goal. But they were the same players who started against Liverpool and had a stinker. So what's he supposed to do? I don't know. We just have the main thing is we've got too many players that sadly ain't fucking good enough, and that's the bottom line, unfortunately.
Yeah, and also the issue, I think, that it seems, even if you're an outsider as a non-Arsenal fan, it looks as if we're cruising through the season. The lack of effort and determination, and then ultimately too, which is quite important for us as fans, the lack of pride almost. That comes across even on TV screens when we're not in the stadium. What do you make of the substitutes and the substitutions, Paul?
Well, just to go back to the lineup thing, I mean, you and I spoke before the game started.
Yeah.
And, I looked at the team that we had, and, I had questions. Willian, the obvious question. I wondered why Martinelli wasn't getting a chance, if Aubameyang wasn't going to be starting. I wondered all sorts of things. I thought there were maybe other ways to incorporate Saka and not have Cedric, to give us some attack, and, maybe Pepe and Saka in one of the attacking, left back role or something. But when I looked at the team, I thought, this team should be able to beat, Slavia Prague, or Sparta Prague, as you call them, every now and then.
Thanks.
Sorry, I had to get that. No, but, and I think, with Willian hitting the post, with Lacazette hitting the post, things could have been very different. I think we could have, with that shitty starting lineup, we could have been 2-0 up, brought the other guys in, cruised against Sheffield, maybe not have to bring them in. You know what I mean? So it's once again, I think I'm just trying to look at a positive here. Is I think that there are small margins. It's kind of it's make or break. It's down to little things, that can really fuck up a game and turn everything on its head. But if either of those two chances had gone in, it might have been different. And so I think
it seems like so. I mean, sorry to butt in, and I don't want this to turn into the Hate Williams show, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was plenty of times in the first half where we're trying to press, and he's not pressing. Everybody's going forwards to press, and he's not, and then they're coming out on us. But
Pepe does the same thing, Kev.
I honestly think Willian is one of. I just think I don't think he's. I think he's past it as a footballer, and B, I just think he's stupid. I just think he just cannot follow basic instructions on, because like I say, when you see everybody press and he's hanging back, do you know what I mean? How many times has Arteta actually sat him down and told him, look, you press as a unit, and he just can't do it. He just can't fucking do it. The fella's just fucking useless. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, I mean, but Pepe isn't the greatest defender either, although in the last 3-4 games, I think he certainly has pushed up his energy levels in regards to pressing. But again, in my view, I think, when I saw the lineup, I thought the lineup was pretty good, and they could do it. And I almost thought it was a slightly more, let's call it macho lineup, as I commented to Paul, with somebody like Lacazette on the pitch in case Slavia were going to do one of their racist things or pick on a Saka or whatever else. A Lacazette most probably would get more in your face than an Aubameyang would with anybody trying to cause trouble with teammates. Substitutes. Did you think we left it too late, Mark?
Yeah, obviously. It's far too late. Yeah. He can make 5 subs, and he leaves it till the 73rd minute to make the first one. When really, to be honest, you could have picked any of those players and said, do you know what, you're not playing well, get off. So I don't understand why it takes that. Maybe that's what confused him. Maybe the number of players that are playing shit confused the fuck out of Arteta. He doesn't know who to take off when he's only got 5, because he could have taken the whole team off. I don't know, but they were too late. Eventually he got the right man playing centre forward. He got the right man sort of playing on the left wing, and he got another player playing right wing. They were a good 3 to bring on, and we looked a bit more urgent. What is going on? I mean, like even Partey's, he's not the player that we saw. We saw him play away at Man United, and we saw, bloody hell, we've got the new Paddy here. But we should have known, because even in that game, El Neni had a stormer and looked brilliant. So we should have realised it was just a one-off. But Partey is just going backwards. I don't know what it is, whether he just doesn't like the league, or he's not happy, or he's not fit. I mean, he's blown out of his arse after 75 minutes most games.
I was watching him closely tonight, especially because we've discussed him a few times. And one of my observations, right or wrong, is the fact that he's got great ball skills. But the amount of times that he ends up losing the ball once he's utilized those skills then puts us under so much incredible pressure, and then we're all backtracking again.
Yeah, he does the hard work and then fucks it up, right?
What do you think? What do you think, Gav?
What with regards to the substitutions?
Yeah, and the Paddy comment or the party comment.
Yeah, well, like I say, he's nowhere near Vieira. Let's be honest. He shouldn't even be talking about Vieira in the same breath. He couldn't even clean his boots properly. He had a couple of passes today which were like 5-10 metres away from the player, which is an absolute disgrace at that sort of level.
There was one that went right out. He kicked it right across the field to where the coaches were.
Yeah, I know. There was nobody within about 10 metres of that pass, but again, it's unfair to just sort of pick on one player apart from Willian. Sorry about that. But no, the substitutions, they were just too late. The 3 substitutions that he brought on, he should have done them around 65 minutes, and then we could have had a chance of scoring 2, maybe 3 goals. And again, it's just going back to what I said previously. We've got players that will play an absolute blinder one game or come on as a sub and look absolutely brilliant, and then the next game they'll be shit. And then the players that were poor the game before will come on and look good. There's no real consistency, urgency, or there's almost like a lack of sort of pride in some of them. And it's almost like they have to have Arteta needs to kick them in the bollocks, drop them on the bench for them to come on and actually have a good game. And then when he starts them, it's all forgiven and all happy again. So there's a lot of questions with regards to the temperament of the players, I think.
Yeah, there's a comment. That just came up now from I think it's Gab Tai, if I could pronounce it correctly, asking why were Leno and Oba so great and now they're absolute rubbish. What's the common factor? But I think that inconsistency, you can almost level that as a comment on the majority of the senior players. You know, they were particularly good, and at the moment they're not. And what is the common factor?
I don't get that. I'm sorry. I don't get the slagging off of Leno. I honestly don't get it. Do you know what I mean? He pulled off a couple of good saves tonight, and he had no chance with the goal. So yeah. I mean, so let's be honest. So we've let him one goal that he had no chance with, and everything else he batted away nicely. He had there was a couple of decent shots, a couple of good saves. The one he batted onto the post was a very, very good save, because that could have gone anywhere, that ball, as it came in that fast. So I just don't understand people slagging off Leno. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they're still in love with Martinez. I don't know.
Yeah, but this does feel like a defeat, eh? Yeah. Or
I think because we had it. I think we'd done everything that we needed to do, to get through in a really shit, fugly manner. We'd managed to scrape through and give ourselves a sniff at a chance, with them not getting an away goal. If we score an away goal there, they've got to get 3 to win. That's even with our, lackluster defending and our unpredictability at the back, them scoring 3, would have been a tough ask. And I think we would have, made it a lot easier for ourselves. So, it's like this Arsenal really has it in their locker to shoot themselves in the foot, game in, game out. And that's what gets me. It's just, how do you train against that? I mean, surely you can fucking just defend a lead for 4 minutes. Please, God. You know what I mean?
No, you can't, because it's about mentality. Yeah, it's about mentality, because if you're not a strong character, you panic. And once you start to panic, that spreads amongst the rest of the team. And then anything can happen. And that's what happens with us. Anything can happen. Anything can go wrong. And you know what, the other thing as well, it's a decent corner. The guy whips in a decent corner. We're all looking at it going, I haven't seen Arsenal take a corner like that in years. It's a decent corner, causes problems. Cedric fucks up again because he's the wrong side of the geezer, and the bloke heads it in. Leno can't do nothing about that. He's virtually over the line before he can even get to it. But this team has no chill. It has literally no chill. It has no leaders. It has no composure. It has no calm on the pitch. It is a fucking walking disaster that sometimes pulls its finger out and gets the result it needs. But most of the time sleepwalks through games from one disaster to another. The brief period... Sorry, Gav, let me just finish this. The brief period over Christmas where we did have that resurgence when Smith Rowe came in and Saka and him were playing really well. Yeah, that was another false dawn. It was months ago. Our form since that little bit finished has gone back to being shit again. And we're kind of scraping through in Europe, and now we've got to go out there and get a result, which we can do. Don't get me wrong. If he picks the right 11 and they go out and they play anywhere near their levels, they will win that game because they're a better team than Slavia Prague. But that doesn't necessarily mean it will happen because they're also Arsenal players. Sorry, Gav.
No. Sorry, mate, for butting in. I was sort of picking up on something you were saying there. We missed Louise with this Louise Mark. Do you know what I mean? He's one of the only ones in the squad. Him and Zaka really are the only ones in the squad that have got any sort of leadership capabilities.
Well, Tierney as well, right, Gav? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tierney, but I mean, like I say, that, you know, we can't. We've got to be looking at getting in the summer a very, very good left back, because you can't count on Tierney. Tierney's like, he's played a maximum of 9 games on a trot for the past probably 2 or 3 years. His injury record at Celtic was appalling. It's appalling at ours. I love the fellow. I love the passion. He's probably one of the best left backs in the country. But you're only going to get, out of 38 league games a year, you're only going to get 20 out of him. So what's the fucking point? Do you know what I mean? We've got to get another classy left back in. I'll be honest with you. Like I say, don't get me wrong. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. He's, you know, if he could keep fully fit all year, then he could probably get into the, I don't know what they call it these days, the Premiership team of the season, or even the European team of the season. But he's never ever going to be fit for a full season. I hope I'm wrong, but I ain't often.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Gav. Sorry, I was just going to say one thing, Olaf.
Yeah, sure.
It flashed through my mind, about Tierney maybe being one, European left back team of the season. But there was like this niggly little thing in the back of my mind that went too one-footed. And when I watch tonight, and when I watch how many times like our game grinds to a halt because it arrives at a player it arrives on his shitty foot. You know what I mean? It's like if a person just had the ability to just make a decent pass with the other foot, like we would be like literally 30% more effective. But every time it arrives at Tierney and it's on the wrong foot, or he's got to turn around to make the pass, or Xhaka, or any single one of those one-footed players, it's like watching it. Like if you play golf, if you've ever played golf and you play with somebody who's not a good golfer, or they've got like a really long warm-up, practice swing, so they can't just get up to the ball and hit it. They've got to measure the gloves and stretch and waggle the arse and take a practice shot, then go look from behind. And it feels like that when you're watching these one-footed players get the ball and have no outlet on their the outlet is on the good foot, and they have to do like a 360 and go play backwards. Like, fucking drives me mad. And Tierney, unfortunately, I don't think he'll ever be like a like a Cole or anybody like that, because he just doesn't have that two-footed, that ability to play on both feet.
Although the goal of the month,
that was a fluke. That
was Tierney with his right foot, by the way, when he came down the left.
Yes, but it doesn't matter if you do that once every 40,000.
I know, but I'm trying to bring some.
Do that twice a game, and then I'll start to call you one-footed. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry, the one-footedness kills me. It kills me, really.
Even Nigel Winterburn scored with his right foot once.
That's true.
Thank you, Mark.
Nigel Winterburn had the worst right foot I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my goodness! I think it was a club foot inside there. It was like,
who wants to talk about our goal?
No.
You scored. I already did.
5 minutes. 5 minutes from the end, we did.
Yeah,
yes.
5 minutes of all we had to do was defend that goal for 5 minutes. No, like I said, I think it was Pepe producing what we'd seen him do 30 times a season for Lille. He did once for us, which is great. I'm happy. He did what Lacazette could have done.
That's the thing. The thing is that is Pepe's strength. We do not play to his strengths. That's the position he's got to be in. And he's never in that position, because we take 3-4 touches a player when one would be good. And going back to yourself, where you're pissed off with the fact that we've got too many one-footed players. The problem isn't necessarily that they're one-footed. The problem is the players playing to them are not playing to their correct foot. So it's a mixture of both. It's just I just think we've got a lot of football players that are completely unintelligent. We've got a lot of football players at our club that just have not got any nous between them. And when they haven't got the nous and they're not at the top skill level, then that's where it keeps going fucking Pete Tong.
No, I think that that was one of the criteria that one of our previous managers looked for in players was a bit of a brain and a nous, by virtue of the fact that and I think that drove a lot of the performances of those years as well, was the fact that people were smart. And they weren't maybe as skilled as, I mean, we played some games with the most shocking starting 11 you've ever heard of, and embarrassing when you compare it to what's on display currently within the club. And yet at the same time, they outperformed them in style of play and scoring goals. Their goal was very disappointing, though. I mean, the timing was absolutely shocking. The lack of concentration. Mark, you must have, I would imagine you must have said a word or two to your television screen.
Well, it's lucky to still be in one piece, to be perfectly honest. The laptop was lucky and all. No, I mean it was just schoolboyish. There was kind of like a long ball. It ended up with Cedric, and you're thinking, okay, Cedric could maybe like try and knock it back up the pitch, but no, he went back to Gabriel. At first, I didn't think it was the greatest ball back to Gabriel, but it on second viewing and having been corrected on Twitter by Jono, I think it was more a case of Gabriel's first touch was fucking horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous, which meant that the guy was on him and all he could do was put it out for a corner, for a throw. And then from the throw came the corner. And then, once you give away a corner in the last minute, anything can happen. And particularly when like, you're in that position, you do start panicking. It's not Tony Adams and Steve Bold at the back. It's not Ashley Cole and Lauren as fullbacks. Yeah, it's not calm, sensible people. It's fucking headless, clueless, non-intelligent footballers, which is why Martin Ødegaard comes in and Smith Rowe comes in and stand out as head and shoulders. And Saka as well, because they're intelligent footballers. Whereas most of the ones we got are as thick as fucking shit. Yeah, I wouldn't trust them with looking after my dog. Yeah, well, mainly because I haven't got one. But I wouldn't trust them with looking after my dog if I had one. Let alone a 1-0 lead with 3 minutes to go, because you just know you're going to give them a chance of some sort. They had a chance shortly before we scored, where Leno made a decent save. Yeah. From a shot that they had, So
Mark, did you see the
dreadful goal?
Did you see Arteta even in extra time just fucking shouting at people like, what are you doing? Get the ball up that side, like all this fucking around. And I know that he was frustrated on the sideline.
This is where you've got. This is where you've got that difference between a coach like Arteta and a coach like Arsene Wenger. And this is what Olav was alluding to. That team that Wenger built from 98 through to like its perfection, which you'd say was probably 04, bordering on 06, was a team of intelligent footballers. Every single one of them were intelligent footballers, and they were physically specimens, and they were warriors with heart. Yeah. Now, and Wenger could just let them go and play. Now, unfortunately, as the years went by, Wenger couldn't keep those players, and he got other intelligent players, but they just weren't at the same levels, technically or with heart and that. So that's why that standard dropped. Now you've got a coach like Arteta who just seems to be constantly telling them to do things. He's constantly on at them. And and I just think that sometimes they must just think, let me play the fucking game. Yeah. It is. It's like, has he got, what he needs is some sticks with magnets underneath the pitch where he can like remote control them. You just shut the fuck up, Mikel, and get some players in who can just play the game and will just play the game of football the way it should be played. Like these other teams that we watch, yeah, where you don't have to see Pep Guardiola or Hansi Flick or Pochettino shouting non-stop at his players. Yeah, because he's got good enough players to go out. Here's what I want you to do, go out and then go out and do it. Not fucking be on at them for 90 minutes.
But it's the same in the business world. It's called micromanagement. And the moment you start micromanaging people, the confidence level that individual or those individuals that you're micromanaging has drops immensely. They then have no faith or trust in their skill set or in whatever that they do. And because someone keeps telling me, okay, now move to the left, and then no, now do this, and then at the end of the day, as you were saying, it's like moving puppets around, and I think that we don't talk about that enough. I think both the press as well as the fans about how that kind of micromanagement scenario has a massive impact on people's belief in themselves on the pitch when they play.
It's because they're fucking stupid. Olaf, it's because they're fucking stupid. They need constant reminding. They need constant reminding of where they have to be. They need constant reminding of the tactics and their positioning. And there's very, very few of them that don't need that. I mean, Xhaka is probably the only one who manages to be where he's supposed to be all the time. And that's the problem. And obviously the fact that, I mean, I watched the game without the canned noise because I like to hear the shouting and screaming.
You have no choice.
Well, you do. You put the canned noise on or you turn it off. I mean, obviously,
we have to hear that shit, and even the canned noise sound bored tonight.
There wasn't there was no canned noise for the Europa League this season.
Well, that's why they sounded bored.
You could actually hear Arteta screaming.
I mean, when that woman was commentating in the group stages, I mean, she was appalling. So sometimes
she was almost as bad as that woman who sat next to the microphone in the Champions League games. It sounded like a headless chicken. Do you remember her? Like 2 or 3. Like she was so loud, like over all the commentator. I don't know who that was. Yeah. Do you remember her, Kev? Oh my fuck!
I remember. Well, I remember there used to be someone they used to call the Highbury Screamer.
That's her.
Who, when the away team scored, you'd hear ah. Yeah, that was. She actually done some. She was actually on Sky or BT. They tracked her down. It was and like I say, she just said she just couldn't control it. She always screamed when someone scored against her, and her seat was right by the microphone.
Yeah.
But
she sounds like she worked at Pornhub.
She didn't look like she did.
Talking about the stupidity factor, though, I must just say, I mean, like, yes, Arteta micromanages and all that stuff, but like, I couldn't help thinking during the game that both Saka and Cedric, got to the byline and put in cross after cross after cross at like 100 miles an hour at like 7'2" across the box. Where there was nobody in our team. Firstly, we've got like probably the worst headering team in the league. I reckon. Like we either wait for the ball to bounce, and when we header it, it never goes to one of our own players. We can't fucking score. But we're definitely not going to score if a cross that comes in at like 100 miles an hour at 7 feet above the ground. Put it along the floor, and anybody can score. The defenders could score running back. Our strikers could get a chance, and that kind of stupidity just gets me. It's like, why would you do that? Yeah, why would you do it 10 times? Sorry,
no problem. I was supposed to maybe come up with a quiz tonight, so I was going to do something fun. Yeah, I did all the work. I wanted each of you to name one player in rotation in their team. However, we're going to leave that because I think that what we should rather focus on then is the rapid fire ratings of the players. Can we start with you, Mark? Go through give a rating to all and sundry. All and sundry. All of them. Yeah.
All of them.
It's easy, Mark. You just go 4.
Okay,
3.
Yeah. I'd basically say they were literally they were all shit. They're all shit. They're shit. Yeah, shit players, shit attitude, shit. I can't. I'm not giving them ratings. No, they don't even deserve a rating. Ask someone else.
Junk status. There's the rating. Basically. There you go. I love that was quick. That was rapid fire.
Okay, that was rapid fire.
Gavin didn't even open his mouth.
No, I mean at half time, I put my status up at half time to say that was a solid 5 out of 10, and they got the 5, and they all got the 5 for the fact it was a clean sheet. Now, bearing in mind we scored, but they scored, I think across the board it's a 2.5. So I think across the board for me, it's a 2.5. Oh, apart from Willian. Willian can have. Willian
It's a 2.4.
No, he could actually have my cold piss.
Okay. Well, basically,
I think the manager also qualifies as a 2.5. Then, I think that the manager he needs. I think Arteta also needs to be said. I think that he could have done things slightly differently. Are you playing around now, Paul? Is that a new graphic?
I don't know who did that. I don't know who did that.
Oh, that was so cool.
Is that Mark? Mark, have you disappeared?
No, he's there. I think Facebook may have disappeared at some point.
Are you muted, Mark? Or?
Has he
yeah,
froze?
sorry, lad. I was trying to show the picture of the 92nd minute.
Show me again. I'll add it.
How do I don't
just
know.
Go share. Just go share at the bottom. Can you do share plus?
Is that it?
Okay, and then I'll add it to the screen. Yeah. There you go.
That's the 92nd fucking minute, right? When we've got the ball, yeah, and from here, yeah, we concede the throw and then the corner, right?
Fuck.
What kind of a football team, yeah, defending the lead ends up doing that from this position? Yeah, apparently Xhaka went mental, saying, "Why did you go back?" Because Cedric turns back and goes back to Gabriel, who then takes a shitty touch and shanks it for a throw. But it's like, what? Why? What is he coaching these guys? That you're not going to take that forward a little bit and then knock it long up the line to Martinelli to take in the channel. I don't. Yeah, I do not understand.
There was no reason for that, really, was there? It was just, it's really shoddy game management, and I feel like
sorry,
no,
that's a good point. Well, and graphics like that are critical. One then also assumes, Gav, that nobody qualifies to be anywhere near man of the match. Then,
I'd actually hate to pick one. To be fair, I would say Pepe, just for the fact that he scored. He had one chance and he scored. So for me, it's Pepe.
Okay. Paul, yours?
I'd say Aziz. I thought he was great. He deserves it. He's been, he's a Hale End boy. So I'd give it to Aziz.
Mark, are you going to weigh in on this one?
What was this man of the best player?
Man of the match.
Best.
No. Who's
the best of the worst?
Who was the least shit?
I actually thought Holding did reasonably well from an offensive point of view.
He was very offensive.
He put in a good cross as well.
Offensively, in the first half, he actually did quite well. He played one good ball through to, I think, Bellerin, and then he actually put in a decent cross that Lacazette yawned at. So I think he did okay, and you wouldn't consider that he kind of really fucked anything up in defence. So I'll probably allow Holding to live until next week, and I'm going to stalk and kill the others.
I'm not going to give anybody man of the match, but I did enjoy the amount of energy that in the 10 minutes that El Neni brought on. And strangely enough, he didn't do his sideways backwards thing. He did the whole charge forward every single time, which was quite refreshing, which was quite pleasing. So Here's a good question.
This Barry Wickings says,
has
Arteta lost
the dressing room?
Has
Arteta lost the dressing room?
Yeah,
the problem is Arteta was, before he come to us, a very, very good player, a very intelligent player, a very skillful player, and a very, very good attacking midfielder. Obviously, we saw none of that at ours, let's be honest. But he's got a very, very good intelligent football brain. and he expects those around him to be as good as him. So if we go to Formula One terms, this is like putting Lewis Hamilton in a Pinto and expecting him to win a Grand Prix. Now, Arteta's got to make the decision at the moment whether he's going to stick to his principles and demand excellence every game, or he's going to lower his standards to the shit that we've got and try and mould them into a decent team. And that's the conundrum that he's got as a manager, because there's no doubting whatsoever that, yeah, he tries stuff. He can. Everybody gets frustrated about the starting 11, but we will do it at the moment because we haven't got 11 world-class players sitting in the team.
Consistent players, really, more than anything.
Yeah. But like I say, and we all moan about his substitutions where he's trying to change it after the players that he's put in have let him down, and let's be honest, a lot of the players let him down. But like I say, the problem that Arteta's got really is his tactics and his strategy is too intelligent and too good for the players that we've got. So that's his choice. That's his choice, really. Do you know what I mean? Is he going to play to the strength of the squad that we've currently got, or is he going to play to the strengths of how he wants the game played?
Did you guys see actually? Here's a question which is kind of follows on from this. Did you actually notice a game plan this evening? Or did you see a game plan in the Liverpool game? Because then you got to ask the question, what the hell's the game plan going to be this weekend? But was there a game plan?
I think, to put 11 people on the field at the right time and to play, have 11 people.
4 minutes. Yes.
But can I just say, Gav, that the Red Bull Pinto team is probably my favorite Formula One team at the moment. So.
Oh, I'm all about the Lewis Hamilton this year, mate.
Yeah, even if he was in the Red Bull Pinto team.
Yeah, it's just how it is. I mean, like I say, we can argue all day about tactics, formations, blah blah blah, but the fact is, since we moved away from our home and moved into that bowl, the squad has just gone down, 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 down. And there's been some very, very bad, expensive mistakes that have happened along the years. And this is where we are because of an accumulation of errors. That's basically
it's almost like we've got a shit owner, right?
Well, have we got an owner? Have we really got one? And if we're talking, and if we want to go there, Mr. Vinay, and however you pronounce his surname, my apologies. You're a thief, mate. Anyway, go on, carry on.
Here's another good question. Olaf,
you almost,
this one.
Mark, no, look at it. Mark's busy joking. Thanks, Gav.
Allegedly, Gav. Allegedly, we will add allegedly for legal reasons, Gav. Okay.
Yeah. No, he meant that completely figuratively, right? Like Ozil was nicking in that sense.
Well, apart from the fact I did actually email Vinay and told him that to his own email address. So
adding slander to libel or libel to slander. Good work, Gav.
Well, it's not really because he did actually steal money off me. I feel. I think I'll probably win if we went to Cole. I'd probably win.
The silver members that you are referring to, I believe, and the Reds have all been well and truly stitched up by the club. I agree.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm silver, so yeah.
Anyway, so Vinay Johnson of Barnsley, consider yourself warned.
All right, let's try and wrap it up if we could. Where to from here? I mean, what the hell are we going to do?
Let's just talk about that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we got what? Is it Sheffield United away Sunday night?
Yeah. Yeah.
Send the kids.
And you know what?
It's
that last kickoff at 7 UK time.
Yeah.
Mark, are you sure about that? Maybe we should send this team and play the reserves next week.
Today, I mean, yeah, there were definitely a couple of players tonight who should play on Sunday as fucking penance, basically, And I hope that when they do, that Saka will put drawing pins in their boots and itching powder in their jock strap, so just to fucking really make it worthwhile. But some of them should be sent and then just play the kids. What? It doesn't matter, does it? Who gives a fuck? You know, it doesn't matter. Just play the kids. Give Aziz a chance. Yeah. Give that other kid the he got on the bench tonight. Give Flores, what's his name? Lopez. Give Lopez a game at left back. Play Chambers at right back. Play Chambers at centre. Play all the kids. Give Arteta a game. Yeah.
I won't go that far.
Don't play anyone he intends to play next Thursday, because yes, we can win that game, but it would be better if we weren't playing on Sunday night and getting kicked to fuck by Sheffield 4 days before it.
They don't care though. They're relegated, so they don't care either. It could be that game could be 0-0 or 5-5 because nobody really cares.
They're Northerners, mate. Yeah, they're not. If they're going down, they want to make the most of their last chance to kick the Arsenal.
Yeah, I go with Arnie. I think Arnie's right. I think we should play the women's team.
Oh hell yes!
Not against them. Let me just be clear. I don't think if we played against our own women's team, we'd definitely lose. But we should play our women's team probably against Sheffield and Prague. In fact, play them against both teams at once. That's what I think.
But let's do this. Let's say next week we win. Is this team and are our tactics and everything else good enough to actually get to the final ultimately, and then even to potentially win it? Because if I have to look at what I was seeing last night in Champions League stuff, and if I look at the team that I love and support, and were to put them up, I think a lot of people have said this, and there's also been comments on it in the comment section. I think that we would be plundered playing PSG or Real Madrid or even Barcelona or anybody else for that matter.
Of course we would. But I mean, the thing is though, if you look at the league table, Man City aside, we've turned over everybody above us. We've beaten everybody else above us all year. So it's not that they haven't got the performances in; they just haven't got the consistent performances in. And I actually completely agree with Mark. Against Sheffield United, it's literally pointless. Do you know what I mean? I'd even give the reserve keeper, Ryan, a shot in goal. It's completely pointless playing any key players in this game on Sunday. Completely pointless.
I think if we win, I don't think we move beyond 10th anyway, with Villa above us and with the game in hand still.
Yeah, it's pointless. It's pointless. Yeah. And what obviously does piss me off is the fact that he rested a load of players for the FA Cup game, which we lost. Ironically, 2 of them got injured in training before the next game. So, it's ridiculous. I mean, we should have just gone. He should have gone all out for the FA Cup and all out for the Europa a lot sooner than he did. But he's a young manager. He's learning on the job.
Can I just say that I'm sick?
Go on. Sorry.
Go.
Go
for it.
I'm changing tack. You go, Mark. Yeah.
He's a young coach. That doesn't necessarily make him a young manager, mate. They are two very different things. And I think that him getting made manager out of the blue for no reason, most people seem to think it was a bit of a dig at Edu for Arteta to be made the manager and to rein Edu in a bit. But yeah, he's a coach. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a good manager, because the two things are not always guaranteed. That's the only thing I was going to say.
No, I agree with you. I think a young manager, it's actually harder because, Arteta's played with some of the players that he's had to manage, or against them. And I think that's always tough, It's just, because you can't command respect, you've got to deserve it. And but that goes to my point, what I was about to say, that I'm sick to fucking death of this pandemic. I'm sick of what it's done to football. No, seriously. It's just we're having a shit time as Arsenal, but like every other team, my brother's a Liverpool supporter. I can't help that. It's it is what it is. But if you think if you think of where they've gone to, from being a fucking world beaters and Champions League winners a year ago, to to being kind of where they are right now. You know, every team has this. You know,
we've been. That's the thing. We've been. You know, I mean, we're all old enough to have seen worse teams, and we're all old enough to have seen teams that were, you know, absolutely dire. Do you know what I mean? You know, we're probably all old enough to have gone over Highbury and there was 24,000 over there because we was just not in a shop of actually anything. But it's not why we moved to that expensive bowl. And, you know, the long and the short of it is that the owner of the football club doesn't actually care as long as he's getting everything paid for. I mean, he's got no means and no impulse to actually invest in the club, and he's had a succession of people that he's left to run the club that just wasn't up to the task. I mean, we're going back to, you know, Gazidis, you know, like I say, all right, nobody knew what he did, but at least he weren't like Vinay, because we all know he's a silver money thief.
Vinay Johnson, we might just say from Barnsley.
From Portsmouth.
We're talking.
Yeah. And it was the same. It was the same with Wenger. Do you know what I mean? He let Wenger carry on 5-6 years too long, and making mistakes. The transfer year that we only signed Czech in the summer.
Oh my God!
And we had shed loads of money in the bank, and we actually paid, because of the amount of cash we had in the bank. The club had to pay £10 million in tax, right? Which at that point would have bought a player. And the season after was when the new Premier League money come in, so player values doubled. So, do you know what I mean? He's had absolute morons running the club for so long. And like I say, from how the club have behaved this summer, the fact that so many people that were lifelong supporters have been forced to take redundancy and early redundancy and stuff like that, and the fact that they wanted to get rid of the supporters liaison officer before all the overseas supporters kicked up such a fuss. And another one, how is it that the overseas supporters get their own way, but the London supporters and the supporters that have been going all their lives, and the supporters that have got like 14 plus years worth of continued membership as silver members, get kicked in the teeth? But yeah, I could moan all day about the club. I really could. But like I say, we are where we are. We are where we are because the owner's a fucking prick.
I think. There is. I think that's a separate argument altogether, Gav. That would probably make a very good podcast on its own.
Absolutely.
Is to say where is this circle, and at the top of the circle is Kroenke, and at the bottom of the circle is, like, you know, the manager and the players, and you kind of have to run around this circle and say, okay, where is the problem? Is the problem that it's the manager and the players because they're shit, or is the problem that it's Kroenke because he keeps appointing the shit managers who buy the shit players? You know, it really is. Kroenke has released, don't get me wrong, I detest Stan Kroenke with a vengeance. Wish he would sell up to someone else. I'd quite happily have him sell up to anyone who would give us shed loads of money so we could get back to where we are, because that's what it's needed. But he has released... thank you. He would do nice.
He's released all the funds that the club's
Amazon FC.
He has released plenty of money from Arsenal profits, none of his own, not a single penny ever of his own. He's released plenty of money from Arsenal's profits and allowed it to be spent. Now, the fact that that's been spent so horrendously badly for a long period of time, you know, is that the fault of the people that were doing it, or is it actually, does the fault lie with Kroenke because he keeps giving that responsibility and allowing that leeway to these people, so therefore it's his fault? But as I said, I think that's a massive discussion for another day, unless you want to have it now.
Yeah, no, well,
and in hour two,
Paul's looking at his watch.
No, I'm happy for this. I'm a
official has held up the board. 2 minutes.
Red card, Gav, you're out. I've got the mute button here, but I'm going to switch you off. No, Gav, that's a great argument, and it's definitely something let's have that in the next hour. I was just talking about, like, in the pandemic, how erratic everybody is. Like, Arsenal has its issues. We've got this twant of an owner and all of that other stuff. We've got alleged thieves, running it and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, from a season point of view, the just everything is so upside down. I mean, like, fucking away doesn't mean difficult anymore. People are winning more games away than at home. Teams that are generally have been quite good have just become utter shite overnight. I think this pandemic is just.
I don't think
I've had enough.
I don't think the football's been great either. There've been select games that you watch, but I think the lack of fans in the stadium to either chastise your own team when they're underperforming, as we have legacy of, and we can do that quite well as Arsenal fans, but also to encourage. I think the lack of that makes this whole Mr. Plod thing happen with the players, where they aren't consistent, and they can come on and have a great game, and then the next time they get selected, literally a couple of days later, they're absolute horse manure. So I agree with you. I mean, that's a Banyang. To be fair, a Banyang he's like a peacock, isn't he? He wants to strut around.
But if you can't strut, how do you get your rocks off?
And getting the adulation. Exactly. He's not getting the adulation.
Look at him now. He's trying to resemble like a charred octopus or something. I don't know what that thing is all about. But
by the way, we didn't even talk about Quasimodo in their goal, by the way. What was with what was with all of this thing in the face?
He just wanted to. He just thought Aubameyang. He thought Aubameyang was going to score and pull out the Black Panther mask, and he thought he'd just upend it and the whole racism thing. He went blackface, basically, it seemed, and got away with it. What can you do?
Okay.
I don't know.
Gentlemen, shall we call time? or
yes.
Or can we carry on?
Or should we go into, like, discussing the benefits of having an absentee owner? And
I think, as I said, I think it's a discussion that's a bigger discussion to be had, and maybe it's one that needs to wait until possibly the end of the season.
The end of the pandemic, I think.
Look, the one chirp I will make about the owners and whatever else. Say what you want about the guys down the road, the blue people, but their owner is ruthless. Non-performance by the coaching staff or the managers and whatever else, and hasta la vista, you're gone, and say what you want. They've at least, through that process, being that ruthless and so demanding, they've at least delivered some results over a period of time. So I think that could be a very, very good discussion end of season.
Do you think they'll fire Thomas Tuchel because of the 5-2 loss to West Brom? Because that would be super, like, in-touch ownership. It's like you won 6 in a row, but now you're out of here. Fuck off. That'd be funny. We can only wish, right? Anyway,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and it was a fun, serious discussion. We look to the second leg next week, hopefully with as Mark predicted, that we absolutely walk all over them. In the meantime, enjoy the women's team. Vivian Miedema will be scoring at least a hat-trick against Sheffield on Sunday at 7:00. So,
brilliant.
Thank you, and good night to Paul in Durban.
Thanks for having us in your house.
And the magnificent Mark. I'm going to say it again because it was relevant. Thanks for joining.
Cheers, Olaf. It's a pleasure.
And Gav, you glorious, passionate thing. Have a great evening, and you must let us know what flavour you were smoking there in the background, quietly.
Oh yeah, no, it was the black currant. It's black currant, and it's actually lemon and lime. Lemon and lime from Diamond Mist.
I hope you had some tequila with that, bud.
Because it all just tastes the same anyway. I mean, it's all same. It all tastes the same. But
they had yellow flavour.
It was.
It tastes. I'm glad we could end on a laugh, gentlemen. Thank you. I know it was a serious night. Some good serious points that were raised and needed to be raised. And again, thank you to everybody for engaging with us. We'll see you Sunday. Thanks for joining
Up the
us on the
Arsenal.
Gunnerstown pub. Up the
Up
Arsenal.
the Arsenal.